Good morning, fam. GMGM. How's everyone doing today? I'm having an issue with my Discord where I see someone's got their hand up in the request, and I open it, but I don't see anyone's name. Very strange. So I can't actually bring anyone on stage. I'm trying to. I see that Hefe, you have your hand raised. Here, I'll show what I see on my screen. I think Discord has a bug or something.
That works.
Yeah, if Node features, it can do it. Cool. Yeah, I don't know why. I just uploaded, downloaded the latest Discord, and they changed the setup, and they broke it. So
yeah, Discord's been really bad for me lately. It's been super buggy. So you're not the only one for sure.
Yeah, sweet. All right. Well, glad you're up here, sir.
Yeah, GM, how are you?
Good.
There's
nice
been
Sunday.
a lot of shipping going on lately. It's been hard to keep track.
Yeah. Last week was pretty okay. It's August is going to be a lot of planning and shipping, and then I think September is going to be a big month. It's going to be a lot happening in September.
How do you feel, about the whole farming release now that it's kind of getting wrapped up and you're looking back on it?
I mean, it's great. It's It's like I feel like the farming is kind of the backbone of the economy, and it's just going to be something that's going to be going for a long time, and it's kind of self-sustaining as we introduce more and more mechanics that aren't farming related. It'll just be kind of this thing that kind of hums along in the background and drives the economy.
Is there anything? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just mean if people want to farm, they can farm. If they want to do other stuff, there'll be plenty of other stuff. But it's going to be, it'll be a cool backdrop to the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything with the farming that is everything going as expected? Does anything surprise you with the way people are building things? We did a lot of discussion with the recipes, and in my opinion, they seem to be working out pretty great. But is there anything you didn't anticipate, or you're like, whoa, people are really upgrading things fast now, or anything like that?
No, I mean, it seems to be pretty much going to plan. I think probably one thing that could be tweaked a little bit is the maker price. I think that's probably a little bit too expensive. So if there's not a huge demand for makers, maybe they need to be revised down a little bit. But it's easy to raise prices. It's harder to lower prices without having to refund people. So would be a consideration. But yeah, that might be the only thing that totally not totally happy with.
Yeah, that is interesting. I personally haven't installed a Makerbot yet, only because where the glitter price is at, we've done like a comparison with that. But I'm sure there'll be a point where we realize we need a Makerbot because, we'll talk about it today with the friends, discussion, friends getting phased out. I imagine the glitter rewards will go down for everybody across the board. So the demand will still be there. People will still want to use it, but maybe there's like a decision people have to make at that point, whether maker might actually be worth it at that point.
Yeah, Nick, we're in the DAO meetings channel. He just said the maker is not expensive. It's just glitter is cheap. Yeah, glitter is pretty cheap right now, I would say.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. Mainly just because there's not a ton of syncs right now. They take, these things do take a little bit of time to get online, but the good news is there are plenty in the wings.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to dig into that and see, what other use cases we can use for the glitter token. I guess speaking of which, we can probably get right into our discussion today. Welcome, everyone, all 46 of you here Sunday morning for DAO meeting. We're going to get into some old business first, as we usually do, and then there's some new business that we have to discuss. And then anything else Coder Dan has specifically you want to talk about, we'll make sure there's room for that too. So we'll start off with the friends discussion. We've had this discussion for a couple weeks now. We want to retire friends. I think there's a consensus forming around, we're going to retire friends, but we have to figure out how we're going to do that. Dr. Wagme has a proposal, actually not a proposal, I think it's a discussion up in the DAO right now, pushing for October 1st to, have that as a soft deadline for, making that transition over into the new pool or into the glitter pool. And I know there's some comments from Moon that have been made as well. Have you been following along in that forum chat with Dr. Wagme?
Yeah, I
His
was looking at it some today. I have not looked at any of the numbers very closely yet, but I have been reading the comments.
I mean, I think the gist of it is, there's a dilutional effect going on with the friends at this point because there's just so many of them,
Yeah.
and they're increasing, on a daily basis. And you would have alternative staking utility with glitter mining, which includes the single-sided staking WAP Ghost that has, no permanent loss. And then, we can actually focus our NFT distribution events based on the right time, based on the supply and, whether it's going to generate profit for the DAO. We can take a more informed approach on that. And then also more flexibility with the NFT distribution for Pixelcraft, like I said, and the DAO. So that was the gist of the idea behind moving on it sooner rather than later. And then, there are some negative effects that you listed there. I highly recommend checking out the Miro board. I see Hardcore's posting it up there actually with Moon and the numbers. But definitely check out those, counterpoint reasons why maybe, it wouldn't be a good idea. Some of them including like a liquidity provider impact, um, you know, um, current raffle ticket and friends holders might be affected. The ghost liquidity, the overall liquidity for Ghost might decrease if we have less people mining for friends, and maybe they just drop out of the pool completely, and they're not transferring over to Glitter. We might lose a little bit of liquidity for Ghost there. And so there's solutions all proposed for those as well. But I recommend checking out his full proposal because it's a little bit lengthy to read all the way through. And then Moon also, Hardcore's posted there in the chat, and Moon's also chimed in with potentially as a transition to move to consolidate some of the other pairs from previous partnerships, Ghost Weath, I think Ghost Quick and Ghostmatic, and consolidate them into Ghost USDC, which I think still has the high staking in it for friends, if I'm correct. So moving that liquidity over, into one consolidated pool instead of having the liquidity, dispersed throughout like 2 or 3 different projects. Some that we no longer really deal with, like the Ghost Weath, I believe was a DinoSwap pool for their promotion, liquidity mining promotion. That's kind of long ended now. So maybe that would be a good idea to move some of that into Ghost USDC, as well as the Ghost Quick pair. But I want to know what you think. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm just looking at the chart that Hardcore just dropped.
Nice.
So we got the different LPs and the percentages. So let's see, 15% for Ghost USDC, Ghost Quick, 0, Ghost Wheat 5, Ghostmatic 5, Ghost Alchemica 56, Ghost Glitter 14, WAP Ghost 5. I wonder for WAP Ghost, should we give that a little bit more? Maybe just because there's going to be a lot of single stakers that aren't going to want to come over. If they might, but the dilution of that pool will be the heaviest because you got all these single stakers that might want to come over. If we make them choose between, I guess the three options would be LPing with some of the pairs, getting a low yield with WAP Ghost, or selling Ghost. I'm curious how many of them would just sell their Ghost.
It is interesting, but also at the same time, wouldn't it? I mean, if they saw their yields go down on the Ghost, like the tickets in Ghost, and then the friends I feel like they would have sold already because the yields are probably not that great at the current ticket prices.
That's true.
I mean, I'm just wondering. I don't know for a fact if that's true, but like the ticket prices are down to 2 Ghosts, or a little lower than 2 Ghosts, down from like 10 Ghosts, where they were probably selling tickets, and now it's kind of maybe hard to sell the tickets. It's probably hoarding tickets at this point, but not knowing when you can sell them. I'd imagine I'd just sell my Ghost at that point if I was staking like 1 million Ghost or something.
Yeah, the ticket market isn't exactly super active. I mean, there's still quite a few trades happening, but no huge volume on that side for sure.
Yeah.
But as Hardcore says, there's a what can I do with my friends in the forum post yesterday. There are still people who are not really following that closely they still think that they will have like a use case for their friends at some point.
Do you have some ideas for like a big event that would, or a few different ideas maybe for some events that would really absorb all these tickets being minted out? I think the first step is to kind of lower the flow, right? Tamper down the flow of the friends being minted.
So pretty much every call we've had, I've said at the point that we have now, we're basically past the point of return in terms of doing like one big event that can suck up all the friends, because the EV, it would be so high for that event. It would just be, I mean, at this point we're probably at 5. I would estimate we used to have this like glitter friend staking subgraph, but it just takes forever to sync. It's never up to date for some reason, so very hard to track the exact balances. But I would estimate we're at somewhere between 5 to 10 billion friends, just like waiting out there. So someone wants to run the math on what the value of 10 billion friends is right now. Let's see. Going to Aavegotchi stats to get the floor price here of one friend. But it's definitely beyond one big event. So I don't think we can realistically think in those terms. Okay, it looks like one friend is roughly 0.000256 ghosts per friend. So if we do 10 billion, puts us at 2.56, like 2.5 million ghosts. That's about right, probably. So if we were in a bull market, there might be a possibility. But in this like bear market with low liquidity across the board in every NFT project, it's pretty difficult to do an event that's going to soak up 2.5 million ghosts worth of liquidity. So we need to be aware of that. And any solution we're doing as far as like a raffle is just going to be a part of the solution. But yeah, the first step is definitely turning off the spigot sooner rather than later. So we stop that and get all the people that are currently doing ghost staking onto glitter staking.
Yeah, I was talking to some guilds this week. 8-Bit Gamers Guild, YGG, some of these guilds that actually do have significant amount of Ghost, and even they haven't really moved their whole stack over to glitter staking yet. So, I mean, YGG hasn't even moved their glitter stake, like just their stake to glitter yet. So, and I know they probably have, at least 1 million Ghost, maybe more. I don't know, that they want to move into that. And that's just one guild. So I wonder how many other guilds probably haven't done that either at this point. Probably not many. And they saw the value in that after I told them, what glitter is and what it's going to be used for. They saw the value in that. So I'm sure others will see the same. We just need to, first of all, get their attention probably by turning off the spigot, and they'll go, "What the hell?" But then we can let them know there's this glitter staking. There's a higher utility there, and this is a longer term. Like Friends, I don't know if Friends was ever, you guys were thinking of it to be a long term thing, but the glitter is definitely has a long term vesting schedule. Over almost 30 years, so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, so what I would think, and that's what my position has been, we can turn off Friends, have glitter going, and then in the future, if we do any event, we still keep our raffle tickets that we currently have for the raffles, and they can be either convertible with Friends or convertible with glitter. And so eventually, if you have Friends lying around, you can still use them. We're not going to say, no, you can't use your Friends. That would be a big problem, I think, if we cut off like access to the Friends. But if there's an economic value to holding, maybe there's an advantage in using glitter to buy your tickets over using Friends, or vice versa. So I would advocate for a dual system for a while.
And you were saying there might be some ARB opportunities and let the market take care of the inefficiencies, between the two.
Yeah, you're just using raffle tickets as an ARB opportunity for a while. So all we really need to decide is what the conversion ratio of glitter to tickets would be.
Could it just be translated over into the ghost value per ticket, or would that be too much in glitter? If we were to say, what is the current ghost value per ticket, and then what does that translate into glitter? Would that be kind of an unfair?
It'd be very open to manipulation because the tickets are not a very liquid market, so someone could easily manipulate that. Because you would need some sort of like on-chain oracle for that. Basically, what's the average price of a ticket? And then to calculate that, someone could do market manipulation or like flash loan attack or something to manipulate that. So I don't think we'd want to do that. I think we would want to start with a kind of fixed conversion rate and just let it go for a while.
Time has a interesting point, but also that comes down to that EV conversation you were saying before, where there has to be a higher opportunity in winning something than the price of the actual ticket. So that might be a lot of Alchemica if we were to do raffle for VRF rolls for, like packages. Essentially what you're talking about is like a chest of Alchemica that you would win through a raffle. But, Alchemica prices aren't that high either. So you need a lot of Alchemica for people to feel like they want to put their tickets into it. Raffle by raffle approach to distribution. I mean, Coder Dan, what are your thoughts on, saying we're working on glitter tickets? We're not going to, jump into it right away. We'll figure out what the appropriate price per ticket in glitter would be. But for now, we have raffle tickets in circulation. We're not going to allow new minting of raffle tickets to enter circulation. So you just let the market kind of, sort itself out with the current tickets that are out there, whether people are going to be buying them or Whether a bunch of people will sell their tickets, probably not. If we say you can't mint any more friends tickets, people might just start hanging on to them because you'll need them for the next raffle, or you just won't have tickets, or you'll have to
Wait,
go to
but
the market to buy tickets.
so what would happen? All the people that have used like they have their stockpile of friends, they would just be out of luck for a while.
Well, maybe we could put the announcement out. You have 2 weeks or whatever to mint out as many tickets as you can with all your friends, and then you just stop producing friends with your stake. Would that be a little bit too dramatic? Probably. I don't know.
Well, there are some people out there that are not checking the Discord every couple weeks. Like they might be like monthers. Just
Oh
come in
yeah.
and check in once in a while.
What's this thing Hardcore's posted here? Is this some raffle thing someone else has created? Like it looks like a UI for like side raffles or something.
Yeah, I mean they're a very new protocol. I don't know how much overlap there is between us and them. But yeah, in general, I would not advocate for a solution that sets a strong deadline on when you need to use your friends by.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe, that October 1st hard deadline maybe might not be the best, but I also kind of agree with Dr. Wagme that moving on it sooner than later is better.
Well, no, that
Just
would be those are two different things. The
okay.
October 1st deadline is saying after October 1st, you're not going to earn any more friends for staking Ghost. But the friends that you have already can still be redeemed.
I see what you're saying. And just give people that opportunity over time to make their way over to Glitter. It'll just be more appealing
Yep.
to do
It's the
that.
only game in town now.
Yeah.
Right now, there's 2 games. So if you tell them, okay, you're not going to get any more missions here, but over here you can, you're going to get some people who move over. You're going to get some people who just probably go looking for other opportunities, other places. But I mean, there still is going to be some loss there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but good thing is there aren't that many opportunities in the market right now. I mean, with buying things there is, but not so much staking pools where you can earn a really nice APY are kind of disappearing, where we still have something substantial there.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do people feel about moving the liquidity around for the current um, ghost pairs for friends? Like moving, especially the Ghost Weave, Ghost Quick, Ghostmatic, those ones from previous partnerships that have maybe not as much liquidity anyway, but just to consolidate it into Ghost USDC. Is that
I think what
something?
Moon was saying, he was proposing we just completely get rid of those pairs. It sounds like because they're kind of, on QuickSwap especially, they sometimes lead to like inefficient routing, I guess.
Yeah.
And then like Ghostmatic is on SushiSwap, which I don't even know if their team is still doing anything. I don't really know what SushiSwap is doing
Yeah.
at this
I have
point.
no idea. There's a lot going on over there. A lot of shuffling.
So we'd be basically consolidating to Ghost USDC and then a bunch of the Alchemica and Glitter pairs, sounds like. Ghostmatic, I think a lot of people like holding that one, right? Because you want to hold both tokens.
Yeah, I haven't done the Ghostmatic before, but I guess yeah, Tommy Gotchi says he uses it, Ghostmatic.
But yeah, Ghost Weave is probably pretty unnecessary at this point. But Ghostmatic, it is on SushiSwap, so it's like a totally different exchange. Doesn't really help us on QuickSwap.
Yeah. Just seeing what people are saying here.
Yeah, we did Ghostmatic on Sushi as a partnership with them, but they totally dropped the ball. They were kind of going through a corporate implosion at the time, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to move it back onto QuickSwap.
Dystopia. Is there a Dystopia Ghost staking pool? I think we just approved something for that, didn't we? Or that was DYST.
Yeah.
With another pair. Okay, so it sounds like we should be sunsetting the pairs that people are staking for friends. Some of them, and maybe we can try and do a push to promote the Ghost Glitter pools a bit. Promote the staking pairs and show people the obvious why it's obvious to switch. I mean, Glitter's going to have a higher utility. I'm assuming because of the limited supply per block, it should, if demand keeps increasing, it should have a higher price point in the future. So it's good to make that move now for those people even coming in over from the friends pools. Now, if you were to set a price for tickets in Glitter, I guess doing it based on the ghost price of a current ticket is not the best idea. What would be some alternatives to consider?
I mean, you could do that. It's going to dramatically vary in the future, and for a while there'll be this arb opportunity between the friends, like on the tickets between friends and Glitter. So the prices will kind of be attracted to the middle point between them for a while.
Yeah.
There's no other great way to do it without having using an on-chain like a QAP, like an on-chain oracle, or having like a Chainlink oracle set up for. We do have a Ghost WETH oracle, but I don't know if that could be used or not, because we really need it for Glitter. We're not worried about Ghost as much as the conversion rate between Ghost and Glitter.
Well, that is a good point. I mean, it could be highly manipulated if you don't have an oracle actually continuously updating the prices. But I guess the other point you just made is the ticket prices would vary like pretty wildly in Glitter.
Well, so if Glitter goes up a lot, it's going to take more Glitter to convert to a ticket. So if when we have a raffle, people they would want to spend their friends before they spend their Glitter. And once they've spent all their friends, then they would start moving into Glitter. If Glitter is cheaper than one friend, then people would be spending their Glitter rather than their friends, because it's cheaper to do it that way.
I see what you mean. Because there's two games in town, they can kind of position themselves accordingly, while people are also making that transition over. Or you might be staking in both pools, just collecting both. It's just a matter of if you're using your Glitter for tickets or not, or if you're using your Glitter for something else.
Yeah, so you could basically convert your friends into tickets or your Glitter into tickets.
Yeah. Okay. What do people think about that? You can just convert your tickets either way, Glitter or friends, but you have to choose. You have to make that decision which one's actually the better choice, financial choice. And so, you know, these tickets visually, would they look the same? The glitter tickets and the friends
Yeah.
tickets would be the exact same ticket, just be purchased two different ways, essentially.
Yep. Yeah. Before you buy in a ticket, you basically just eyeball the price of glitter and versus friends and pick whichever one you thought was a better deal. They would be the same ticket. We're not going to have two different ticket types.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. No, yeah, they wouldn't be a separate ticket entity.
And we are preparing a raffle event, still under wraps. But I can guarantee you, it's not going to be something that's worth 2.5 million ghost. It's just not realistic at this point to do that. Like maybe I don't even know if I can estimate it. 250K, maybe 500K ghost.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna put just a dent in it, but nothing significant.
What if we had spend 10 million ghosts? That's 10 million friends. You get an hour call with Coder Dan, or like someone on the team, or like some other thing that's not related to an NFT asset.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
Like, are there other ways that we can spend our friends that don't involve minting NFTs? Merch is obviously one of them. The bad thing about merch is that it actually costs us to build, like to print it and ship it. So if we take friends, we're basically losing money on that.
What do you think about, you know, as a DAO, if we decide to get some really cool NFT one of ones made? You know, we can reach out to some artists. I know we have some artists in our community too. But we could also reach out to some, you know, maybe well-known ones even. You know, we could do a couple Bin Lagons. We could do a couple. I know we reach out to some artists that are known in the space and see if they want to do an Aavegotchi themed piece.
You might be surprised. There might be something in the works.
Oh, yeah. I mean, something really people go crazy for a NFT that you can display on your parcel. That's a one of one, Aavegotchi themed by someone well known, or doesn't have to be someone well known specifically, but maybe even in our community. I'd love to own a Bin Laden one of one NFT that I paid, you know, 5 million friends for or something. Be really cool.
I just jumped up really quick because I want to say, Coder Dan, would you and Jesse consider releasing some of that music that you guys made in the past as NFTs for us to buy?
Maybe I have to. He's got all the files for him. Maybe. I mean, it's not like we did a couple studio recordings. They're okay. Like they're not mastered like super amazing, but they're good. They're fun to listen to. We could do. I'm interested in music NFTs a little bit. Like I've seen, what's his name, like Koopa Troopa on Twitter, always like hyping them. Seems like they're pretty cool.
Oh yeah. So yeah, maybe some alternative use cases like that would be
Yeah.
pretty sweet.
Maybe what if I guess it wouldn't be that feasible, but if anyone in the Discord if you want to partner with Aavegotchi, you gotta pony up 10 million friends or something to get a call with Moon. But they wouldn't have friends, so it wouldn't really work. But there's access is like one way. There could be something with that.
Yeah.
So I think I mean there's going to be ways to finish them off. I think we just need to decide as a community, are we ready to do this and switch over to glitter, and then there are going to be things to raffle coming up soon. So again, they're not going to blow up all the supply, but they'll definitely take a chunk of it, and over time there'll just be fewer and fewer friends to deal with.
Ooh, special commission Zbot pieces. I like that. No future. That's a good idea. I like that. I know Zbot makes some other art too, so maybe.
Brill says, seems like glitter tickets are going to have the same issue as Friends tickets, inflationary raffle events. Yeah, but you don't, the thing with Friends is that you only have one way to spend them. So if you make the financial decision to spend your glitter on tickets, like you could have done something else with them. There's going to be other use cases for glitter that aren't just converting them into tickets. Whereas with Friends, the only thing you could do with them was to do tickets. So if you choose to become a ticket bag holder, that's like purely your choice because you want to speculate on the ticket market. Whereas right now, you the only thing you can do with your friends is to do that.
How do you think that will change, like raffles in the future after we're able to clean up the excess supply of friends, and now the tickets are what we rely on for like the actual raffles themselves. Do you think that the raffles are going to get more opportunistic again? Kind of like the first couple raffles we had were really good. Like, the chances of winning something were great, and then they kind of slowly went down over time. The odds weren't as good. Do you feel those odds improving because we are going to have, like what you just said, people are going to have to choose whether they want to enter the raffle or not? So you might just get lucky potentially if a lot of people don't enter that raffle and you happen to be one of the few that decided, you're going to mint a bunch of tickets.
I actually don't think that will happen. Like I think the EV of the raffles will always be pretty much equivalent to so the amount of tickets entered will roughly equal the EV of the raffle. For the first couple raffles we did, the EV of the raffle was higher than the number of friends, like the raw number of friends that we had in the ecosystem. So there was always going to be there was excess value sloshing around in the raffle compared to how many friends and tickets there were. So whereas now, even in the future, once we get rid of friend, like let's say all the friends are gone and there's only glitter left, what's going to happen is people will start market buying glitter and keep buying it up to the point where one glitter ticket is like the value of all the glitter tickets is roughly the value of the raffle because it's a liquid asset. Friends is not a liquid asset. You had to stake to get it. But with glitter, there's basically unlimited glitter. So all that would happen is the price of glitter will go up whenever there's a raffle to meet the EV of that raffle. Does that make sense?
That's cool. Yeah, that actually will create some nice healthy price action for glitter then, every couple months, no matter whatever glitter is already doing, there's going to be this increased demand from people buying up the tickets to match the EV. That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, if people buy the tickets with their glitter and then they complain that there's no raffle, that's kind of on them. They should probably wait till there's a raffle announcement to do that.
Yeah,
if they don't wait, then they're kind of they are kind of buying the dip.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like that we can be more tactical about how we're doing our wearable drops and land sales and stuff especially around the raffle aspect of it. This way, because there's no pressure, inflationary pressure. So yeah, okay. I think we have a good idea of how we want to approach this. Do you think there's room here for like some sort of a sig prop to be put together? Either specifically addressing the current ghost pairs, or addressing the move to moving. I mean, having both glitter tickets and the traditional friends tickets available. Do you think that's two separate proposals? Do you think we should wait and have more conversation? What are your thoughts on like moving ahead?
I mean, I'm one member of the DAO, so I think
Yeah.
we're probably at a point where we can move to a core prop or a SIG prop pretty soon and see if it passes.
Yeah.
So Dr. Wagner's proposal could be the SIG prop. I don't think we probably don't need to include the liquidity stuff. That could probably be its own SIG prop.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
Yeah.
the proposal for friends, I think it should include a conversion rate for glitter if we go that direction. It should say any proposal like that needs to be fully actionable by us, so we can take that information and update the contract with it. And yeah, it could be a longer. Typically, we do 7 days for a proposal. Maybe it could be a little bit longer, give everyone more time to weigh in.
100%. All right. So that was a good discussion around that. Gave people an idea of how we're going to move forward, and we can maybe get some SIG props out of that. Two other smaller pieces of old business, and then we'll just move on right over to the next thing. District DAOs, there's a working group that's being assembled. So if you want to be a part of the District DAOs working group, I believe right now it's Hardcore, Arg, Carter Carlson, Crazy Crypto, Gadfly, Mike Callum, Mytho, Allegory, Quincy, T-Bird, Musashi, Michael, Dunk, Nestor, and Totally a Client. Those are all the current members, but I believe the door is open to have more people joining in on the District DAO working group. Get your opinion in there around how you see District DAOs operating. This is the early stages, the early conversations around District DAOs. I know it mentions on the Miro board there, Moloch DAOs are the open source core of all the solutions being tested. So I guess I don't know much about Moloch DAO, but I believe it's Musashi who's very familiar with this.
I was talking to this with Hardcore earlier in DMs, but my impression of Moloch DAO is that it's good for organizations where the members are going to pay tribute, and the organization is going to be kind of stable. And if generally there's going to be a body of members, and if those members want to leave, they should rage quit. Is that pretty much accurate as far as what Moloch DAO in its kind of current form is? Are there any major differences? I mean, the process is you set up the organization, people pay tribute. If they're not happy with it, they rage quit. If that's, I think it's generally accurate, or no? He says somewhat. So my main question is, if you have, we're giving voting power on based on parcel ownership. So if my parcel transfers from me to you, is that voting power going to transfer with it? That's the core question. And can you assign dynamic voting power based on ownership of that parcel? Basically, do they have NFT-based voting power? Just waiting for Musashi, if you want, if you're free to come up. I do have some questions about it, and I can't invite anyone else on stage, unfortunately.
Am I able to pull him up? I don't know if I have the.
Let me see. I can probably make you a moderator. I mean, you're up here every week, so
Yeah. I could get Musashi up here. If you'd like to come up, sir, you can just put your hand up. We can get you up here. And
Okay, I think you. Okay, you should have managed channel permissions now.
okay. Invite. To get him up here, you just right click. It should show up there. Under all
Yeah,
the
it should sit under show requests, but mine doesn't show anything, so that's why I can't.
Oh,
But maybe I can click on his icon. Let's see.
Hello.
here we go. Got him
Yeah,
up
I
there.
pulled him up. I was able to get him up. I'll get off now.
Oh, thanks.
I don't want to belabor this too long, but I'm really just curious about the functionality of Moloch and whether it's suitable for NFT based voting power, which is kind of what we need in the solution.
Right. So they don't currently have direct NFT voting power, but according to shares and loot, you can assign any voting power as needed. But they are about to release version 3, which has a lot of new functionalities, including different types of like escrow wallets that will really help us out as guilds.
Is that Tribute DAO or is that separate from Moloch?
That was Moloch. I was looking at Tribute DAO last night a lot, and it seems like almost everything was exactly the same except for everything was kind of really just like a different name, maybe a different function, but almost the same. Like the coupons, that just seemed like a simple whitelisting issue.
Yeah, I mean, it was made by the same guys, and I think they were trying to address some of the issues of Moloch V2. But yeah, I guess Moloch, they're also working on a V3.
Yeah, Deacon Bro is currently testing out version 3. I think I'm gonna test some of it myself. I'll let you know what new stuff they've added.
Okay, so NFT access is planned for V3 or not? Because if it's not, it's like, what are they doing?
I think so. I just don't know whether that's being directly incorporated into the safe or whether they're going to use a minion. Incorporated directly into the DAO House UI, or whether they're going to use a minion for that.
Right. Okay. Well,
I know they're focusing on the NFT aspect, though.
Okay.
with Lens being live now, that's really important.
Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, I mean, as long as we can dynamically like assign a certain number of voting power or shares or loot, whatever, based on ownership of certain NFTs, which is kind of based on the metadata of the NFT. So, like if you own one humble, you might have one vote, where if you have one reasonable, maybe you have 4 votes, four shares. If they're able to do something like that, that would be the ideal solution.
I'll talk to him about it maybe in the next couple days. Is there anything specific I should add to that, like some of the metadata should reflect their voting power, right, according to the type of NFT? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not like you. I mean, it's not like you can go by token ID. You can't say, oh, token ID 1, 2, 3 is like humble, and 3, 4, 5, 6 are like reasonables.
Right, because even how we've built it up should affect our voting power, right?
Yeah. So yeah, they would need to have on their contract side. They'd need to look and I've been looking into a solution as well. Since kind of perusing around different solutions for like on-chain voting. This is one that I found. Let me find it here again. It seems pretty interesting. It's a way to do on-chain voting with a Merkle tree. So if anyone wants to look into this, might be. I've been looking into it a little bit, but haven't played with it yet. So the issue with on-chain voting is that every time the NFT changes hands, you do this thing called checkpointing, where you basically store that account's voting power on chain, which is, it's not that heavy, but it does add up over a while to be kind of heavy. So I think what this library is trying to do is to have a snapshot taken when the vote is created. It's like an on-chain snapshot using a Merkle tree. So that could be one way to do it. But yeah, we need to look a little bit more into this. This is what I was considering for maybe as a DAO district, like implementation could be something like this. But we would have to do the contracts and do the UI and stuff for it, so you wouldn't have like a DAO house nice UI to use.
Now, Rachel of Good Ghosting is in the process of testing a new DAO right now and playing with NFTs. I'm going to pick her brain after this to see exactly what she's testing out.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, right on. Thanks for sharing that with us and giving us some background on Moloch DAO. There is anybody wondering, there's an article here tagged in the mirror board as well if you want to read on Moloch DAOs. There's that there for you. And so that's the DAO working group. Musashi is a big part of that. Has a lot of it, knows a lot about this sort of thing regarding DAOs. But we do need more members probably in this working group. It'd be nice to have many different voices. So if you're interested, definitely reach out. Who's the one leading? Is there someone leading the DAO work group, district DAO work group? Or is it just an open, anybody can come in and provide their...
It's just open right now. We don't have any restrictions or anything.
Okay. Yeah, so just if you do need to find out how you can join, maybe DM Hardcore. He seems to know the way in, and get a good conversation going around that. So next up, we got the DTF bounties. There's DTF funding available for your project. There is an application you can fill out. The DTF also has their own Discord, so you can just hop in there if you do have specific questions. This is the Google Doc for the funding application. And there's also a DAO project manager position. If you are interested in that, the submission deadline for that is the 14th. So, if you're interested in that position, definitely get your application in. This is the posting right here.
Cool.
Nice. Mikey J is submitting the DTF proposal for WTF Analytics. Right on. That's going to be huge. Again, yeah, with task forces, that is something that we want to continue growing. We want to make sure that there's a framework for task forces to be productive. We have the wearable task force, the DAO Treasury task force, and there's one more. I can't remember it now.
The Friends Task Force.
Task Force, probably. But that's going to be probably the Glitter Task Force eventually, I'd imagine. Probably make a way.
Yeah, I think that should kind of evolve into a full-on economy task force. Kind of my feeling on it. It'd be great to just have a committee doing like a bird's eye view, kind of like a think tank, right? That's because it's a real economy. We should have think tanks like going and making reports on the state of the Gotchi-verse and the Gotchi economy and things like that. That's kind of what our if you guys haven't seen it already, the Gotchi analytics dashboard that we were kind of working on a little bit.
Oh yeah, that was pretty sweet. You showed that yesterday.
A cool evolution of the Friends Task Force to get I guess we call it the ETF, maybe the Economy Task Force, or the GTF, the Gotchi-verse economy task force maybe. I don't think it'll be the Friends task force has been pretty inactive for a while anyway. So I think it's a natural evolution to just kind of start widening the scope of it a little bit.
Yeah, the economic analysis, Gotchanomics task force is going to be super useful moving forward for sure. That's definitely something I think. Yeah, that's a good idea. Sorry, just gotta get a sip of water here. All right, so we got task forces, and yeah, ultimately these are going to be kind of working groups providing feedback on these specific things. So if you are interested in that specific aspect of the Gotchiverse, it's a good idea just to be a part of that conversation. So those are the two things there. That pretty much wraps up all of our old business. So for new business here, we basically have somebody had brought up this idea of fractionalized land renting. Coder Dan, have you seen this conversation in the DAO on fractionalized land rentals?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think it was Mark that posted that.
I think I was mainly focusing on the V Alchemica part because it's kind of, I didn't really see how the two go together, I guess. There's the soulbound V Alchemica, and then there's the fractionalized land renting. I didn't really see why it was necessary. I mean, what's the relationship between them, I guess? Because I think, isn't Jared already doing something similar where he's got like a sharecropping model?
Yeah, he's building a whole UI for it. So like there's definitely something being built in our community that's going to allow like sharing of land, fractionalized sharing of profits, land profits. So I don't know. It sounds like two different ideas. There's the V Alchemica that's, locking Alchemica into the ecosystem. And then there's the fractionalized land renting. Now, the fractionalized land renting is, like you said, I think Jared is building something like that. So we should probably look into that, see to what extent his tool is going to be used, and then decide as a DAO if we really need to move forward on anything regarding fractionalized land renting. It might just be a community, might be a community built DApp that we can use.
Yeah, I don't really see a need to have it part of the core experience. If someone can build something on top of it, that works fine with me.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have for sure. If we can get Jared up here, maybe next week or something, we can have him touch on that and give us more details on like what he's trying to build out. What are your thoughts on? Sorry, go ahead.
Just the V Alchemica is that's an idea I think we've been batting around for a while. It basically it lowers demand. It lowers the selling pressure on Alchemica and moves it over to the actual installation or tile side. So you'll see probably a lot. I mean, there's already people like minting and selling stuff in the bazaar, but you probably just would see more of that. The Alchemica would be, I guess, less affected. You wouldn't really have spillover being sold directly on the market, but then you would basically be moving that sell pressure onto the bazaar and then into Ghost. I mean, I don't know if it's like a good idea or bad idea or just like a waste of time to do. Like, really, is it really necessary? What's it going to really bring us?
Well, my thoughts are with V Alchemica, if it's locked into the ecosystem, if there is sell pressure, like you said, it'll find its way into other parts of the ecosystem. People will always be willing to sell something else than if they can't sell Alchemica. Or alternatively, what if there's like a vesting period on the Alchemica? So it is VALC for so long, X amount of time, and then it does become liquid after a certain period of time, after a specific like vesting period. Maybe it's 7 days, maybe it's 2 weeks. I don't know, maybe a month.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what is that really? What are we trying to accomplish with that? I always try to think, what are we trying to do with this feature?
I guess it really only makes sense if we have scholars, or if we have people coming in just to farm the Alchemica, which we don't have as like a primary problem right now because we don't have any scholars, picking up Alchemica and doing that. So I think this would only be relevant in that case when you have non-asset holders being a significant part of our ecosystem, which they're not right now. That would be the only thing, the use case I would see for that, for VGhost or via Alchemica. Let's see what you guys think. What do you guys think about V Alchemica? An illiquid token that you can't dump.
We would just have to make sure that we have like a lot of sinks for it, and that they're sinks that are going to have demand in the market, because otherwise these scholars are just going to get a bunch of V Alchemica and buy them. Like, what if? Probably won't happen as much in the future, but what if there's just nothing for them to spend it on? I don't know. I think it's a not necessarily a thing that we need to be concerned about too much, because if we eventually do get the console cartridge model or whatever we want to call it, they'll be incentivized to spend anyway on stuff.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. There's just no obvious use case for it. We were batting it around before as an idea when we had the free spillover turned on for collecting. We had that idea kicked around as a potential solution, but there is really no need for that right now, for sure. So I guess we just table that one unless people really feel like we need to dig into it more. But fractionalized land renting is something we can touch on next week. I can reach out to Jared and see if he'd be willing to. I know his time zone might be weird, so he might not be able to. But
Yeah,
just I'll try and get some more details on what he's trying to do there, and if it fits in with fractionalized land renting, then maybe the solution there would be let's just try and get him some funding so he can build it and like make it work really well, have a nice tool for the community.
I feel like they could almost do that themselves. Like, if you set up all the infrastructure for your sharecropping, you could also kind of make your own V Alchemica contracts, because I guess your scholars would kind of, I don't know. The scholars would receive the Alchemica and they could just sell it, I guess. But you could kind of say, oh, if you want to continue in my sharecropping, you need to do something with it. You need to reinvest it. Like, there's a way for them to do that without having to change the entire way that the game works.
Yeah. Oh, my Callum just dropped in the chat there from Jared. Yeah, so a landowner would be able to deposit a land parcel into a smart contract, request N number of shares for this land, and there'll be a total of Y shares available. So, 50 out of 100 shares, 80 out of 100 shares, whatever percentage you're planning to keep there. The landowner specifies what they want to build on their land, and people can purchase shares in this operation by supplying the Gotchis Alchemica and glitter building materials for the build. Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then the builder upgrader would get a fixed fee for completing the builds as the landowner's specification, which would also be crowdfunded in return for shares in the operation. So even the shares themselves could be exchanged or awarded. And the share owners can vote on the percent spill that goes to the reservoir emptiers. That's kind of cool because there's like multiple individuals involved here. You can actually compensate the whole operation. The remaining funds after the emptier's fee and emptier's manager fee will be split amongst the shareholders based on the percentage of shares they own in the operation. Okay, and then altars on that land should be monetizable. I can't say that. In a similar way from channeling, with a percentage of channeling revenue going to the shareholders in the operation. Interesting.
And I assume this is all happening like through smart contracts in a trustless way. If so,
Yeah.
that's pretty neat.
That's very cool. Yeah. Let's I'll try and get more details on that, but that's a very good explanation of the whole way it works. Yeah. So yeah, that's fractionalized land renting. We don't need to, I guess, as a DAO, really move on that. Seems like there's a community member already working on something really useful around that. Last point of business for new business, just to mention from, I can't remember who it was again. It was someone was saying that they couldn't vote with Snapshot, and they were having trouble voting. I think it was Yannick.
Yeah, he uses Gnosis Safe, and we're looking at, like, he's going to be reaching out to them to see if they support Polygon with Gnosis Safe. I think they do, but yeah, it's a bit weird. So
GMI uses Gnosis Safe for everything we do. We actually opened a portal the other night using Gnosis with 6 transactions.
Have you guys voted on Snapshot with it?
No, we haven't done that. No.
Oh, you can maybe try it if it works. If you guys can get it to work, maybe it's something else.
Okay.
You can try voting on something with your wallet.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We could do that. But I was surprised we can open a portal through Gnosis. It was kind of a clunky experience, but we were able to do it. Collectively open the portal together. Nice. So that was kind of cool.
How was it clunky?
It was laggy on my end and maybe on a few others, and then I was getting this error for a while, just failed transactions. I can't remember the exact error, but
was it like a gotchi, like an Aavegotchi side or Gnosis side?
No, it was Gnosis side. Yeah, but it worked in the end. So
Masashi says Polygon, Gnosis, mainnet. You guys have voted on Snapshot, or you've used Aavegotchi on Polygon? Because his specific issue seems to be using Snapshot with a Gnosis Safe on Polygon. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe reach out to him, and he's had some troubles apparently with it, so maybe try reaching out and you guys can figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Coder Dan, do you have anything you want to touch on specifically, or something you want to toss the ball at for toss out to us for we can talk about between now and next week? Is there anything you want to discuss? Anything pressing?
Probably a good time to not maybe this week, but maybe this week, or not tonight, but maybe this week we can start kind of going back to the eyes discussion and figuring out what we want to do with those. That could be one topic, and then maybe liquidity provision for how the DAO wants to handle all the Alchemica that it has. Does it want to do anything with that or not?
Sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
The liquidity provision,
liquidity.
Providing liquidity on QuickSwap for just to help kind of boost liquidity for the Alchemicas.
Yeah. Do you think we'll need a SIG prop or any sort of proposal for boosting the liquidity? I guess we will. But
yeah, I probably would.
Yeah.
I would have.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, the iTraits discussion's an interesting one as well. I posted the thread there. It's still very much active, so feel free to jump in there and provide your insights.
Yeah, we've been busy on all the numbers for a lot of the wearables and traits, and the eyes have just been kind of a question mark. I've been mulling them over for a while, but nothing like cohesive yet.
Do you want to throw some ideas out for what you think of eyes? I know we're all going to have our own opinions, but how do you see the eye traits being either used or displayed somehow in the Gotchiverse?
I don't have anything super cohesive at this point yet.
Okay.
I've been racking my brain also just to think of different kind of aesthetic only use cases. I mean, the original use case was kind of related to inertia, movement, and kind of how your Gotchi drives in the Gotchiverse, like how it feels. And that's actually something we'll be experimenting with soon, with pretty soon, is the adding in gravity and inertia. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be fun to have that live for us to test and to see, is this something that could be potentially fun as a mechanic for eyes. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just like, no, you know what? It's not a good fit. But like adding in inertia will be pretty interesting, just for eventually when we have Gotchi racing.
Ooh, Gotchi racing. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think originally the eyes, I think it was eye color or eye shape. One of them was acceleration, deceleration, and the other side was vision, like zoom, which these were all decisions made before the Gotchiverse was even really live. So now that we kind of know what it feels like to be in the Gotchiverse, it could be there. Maybe there's some room to explore that or not.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, there was even some talk in the old initial publication for the Gotchiverse to have the high matching collateral eyes would have special traits. Is that something you're still thinking about, or no? Was that kind of
those are kind of like add-ons. We're focusing on the core stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
To just make sure that the core numbers aren't broken, and then those are kind of subtle tweaks that will be made. But the difficult part of the eyes is that people have like attached so much meaning to them that if we just try to put numbers like, oh, you get 10% more attack damage or something, it kind of feels like it's not really worth what people have kind of the value that people have placed on them.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there was also another good point that you had made, alternative good point that you had made, where adding a lot of significant utility to the eyes might actually have a negative price impact across the board for a lot of gotchis, while maybe the few would benefit from it, but the majority would maybe not benefit from it, and then the possibility of, what if iTraits didn't have, a significant utility but had more of an aesthetic appeal in the Gotchiverse? Somehow, aesthetically it makes a difference. Then maybe they could still stay with their speculative nature, but they would be more of a flex. It would be like going towards more of the way you say bevelin good, or Ben, I can't remember the term.
Yeah.
But the flex kind of item, maybe that would be the value, and that would stay kind of in line with how we look at eyes right now. Very much looks rare kind of meme, where we will get eventually NFT collectors that are seriously hardcore about just collecting things that look rare, and there probably are some already that are double mythi collectors or mythi collectors. But yeah, it's maybe adding significant utility to double myth eye is not doing its service. Maybe it's pure speculative nature, and the fact that it looks rare that's the value. That's that's what attributes. That's why people want it. I don't know, but that was an alternative point that you'd made also.
Yeah, I think we talked about maybe having like kind of like a bat signal with the eyes, where you could like shoot lasers out, and they would like shoot your collateral sign onto the ground. Maybe that could be like a trait that's only for the double myths or the godlike eyes. You can kind of lead the pack by shooting your lasers out, but they wouldn't really do anything. They wouldn't do damage. They would just kind of just be a flex.
I do think the eyes should be displayed somehow a little bit better. Like you said, the bat signal, or somehow visually be able to flex the eye color, eye shape a little bit better than right now, where in the Gotchiverse it can be hard to see sometimes when you're zoomed.
Yeah.
Even 30% out, it's kind of hard to see the eyes specifically unless you're all the way zoomed in. So maybe, I had this idea of specifically addressing eye color could be attached to the text when you're typing in Gotchiverse chat. If you have that green or pink, mythical color, people are going to know without even knowing, like seeing your Gotchi, but it's just going to be a little bit of a flex that color of the eyes matches the text that you're typing in the Gotchiverse chat or in the district chat or whatever.
Musashi says eyes should affect the fog of war. It's actually a good point. We haven't really implemented it, but there could be a fog of war in Aavegotchi, in the Citadel and everywhere. It hasn't been something we've really experimented with much, but it could be something that you could have. That's be a very big game mechanic, big change to the game. But because right now you zoom out and you can see everything, but if you had fog of war, you wouldn't be able to see everything. You would only see what you've already explored in that game session. And so right now we're kind of working on these street lights. They don't really do much because they don't illuminate anything, because everything's already illuminated. So I've been actually thinking about fog of war recently.
I like the fog of war idea as well. I think it's going to make like battle, even when we're looking at all the Aavegotchi traits in terms of battle right now. Even with battle, it'd be really cool out in the grid where you might have to select a Gotchi with a certain level of eye shape or eye color, to be able to see properly while you're out there. There might be certain Gotchis that are more equipped with that compared to others. Maybe to balance it out, because I know you can't change the eye traits, so you would have a bunch of people who would be maybe not so enthusiastic about their Gotchi that was a high BRS, but now is somewhat no, I shouldn't say nerfed, but the abilities of the fog of war kind of hamper its abilities to be a really good battle Gotchi. Maybe there should be, to balance out, some wearables in the future, or add some abilities to certain wearables that would allow you to increase, your visual space, even if you don't have great eyes. So, if you don't have great eyes, but maybe a wizard visor, maybe it increases your area by 10% or 15%. Maybe that would be kind of a way to address that, because I could also see with the fog of war certain Gotchis, especially high BRS ones that maybe don't have very good eyes, would now, you'd be like the samurai that's like kind of blind, It's like you can't really see that well. So you might need a wizard visor to kind of help you, to make up for your disability as a Gotchi and be able to actually be battle worthy again.
Well, if you guys like the fog of war idea, it's something that, as I mentioned up above, you could have it everywhere, but it would still be in the Citadel, except we're planning to add like street lights all over the place, just to kind of give more vibe and luminescence to the Gotchiverse. But because there's no fog of war, they don't really do that much because there's no darkness anyway.
Je suis fatigue has a good question. Will there be weather or verse-wide environmental effects?
Yeah, I think we're open to experimenting with that a little bit later, probably. We definitely, I have some ideas for sure about, especially like the environmental stuff.
This idea of biomes and like certain ingredients or equipment or certain items being available during this weather period is also something that I've seen happen in other games before, and it's made things really interesting where you might have that when that storm comes through, there might be a certain thing you can pick up in that time period, and then that's it. That item becomes scarce, whether it's just an in-game item or a material that you can use to craft something else. It creates this interesting dynamic around that for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things we can experiment with, especially with on-chain data in the Gotchiverse, and just like Slick mentions, day-night cycles. I would love to have some things that are triggered by actual on-chain events. And we are still in the building out infra phase of a lot of things right now, but slowly we are definitely getting more and more into feature development as a company, which is really exciting. We've pretty much tackled almost all of the hard stuff as far as like holding a bunch of players and decent lag within the game, and Alchemica spillover was really smooth yesterday, which was great. So we're going to get into some fun feature stuff, and this is where I think the DAO. This is where we want the DAO to be creative with us, and we can come up with ideas together. You guys can come up with a lot of ideas, and we'll kind of sift through them, and the ones we really like, we can definitely support more. But if there's something the DAO really, really wants, we could definitely prioritize that to make sense.
And we have two areas where we can provide feedback. I think one's the SDK wishlist area in the in the main server here, and then the other area is the Canny page where you can add. Is there anywhere else?
I mean, the DAO forum.
Yeah,
we have that whole game mechanics section.
Oh yeah, that would be a good place to start moving our conversation. For sure. Okay.
Yeah,
well, that
Canny is a good spot. I definitely am looking at that.
Do you have the Canny link to post? I don't know where it is. I don't have the link for that.
It's also pinned in the feature requests channel.
There we go. Oh, Canny.
We do have a list of already kind of high priority things that we're working on, and our roadmap is taking form quite nicely. So some of the things like the mailbox, a really nice idea, and want to prioritize it at some point. I don't want to also delay stuff that we know is kind of in the pipeline. It's going to be really good for the economy. But I think if we can find a low bandwidth way to enable that, that'd be really neat. But yeah, great conversation already happening in Canny. Really think that's a nice way to organize everything.
Yeah, definitely drop your feedback in there. I was gonna say
one thing I want to drop from yesterday's conversation. We started talking about it a little bit. Is how we want to treat other NFT communities, as far as allowing them to come in and give what kind of permissions we want to give them in the game. Obviously, you can't join the game as a Bored Ape and go pick up spillover like that's. Or channel Alchemica, that's definitely not going to happen. But once we, like I was saying yesterday, when we have the NFT displays, it's going to be actually a really cool opportunity to go and reach out to other communities and be like, hey, would you like to get whitelisted for your NFT display in our Gotchiverse? You can show off your whatever NFT you have. You can sell it. It'll link to OpenSea. You can kind of advertise it in the Gotchiverse. But to do that, you'll need to have a parcel in the Gotchiverse, or someone who has a parcel. They'll have to kind of display it for you, or you can get a parcel, and then it just comes down to, okay, do they need an Aavegotchi? Do we have the observer mode where they can kind of play as an observer and build stuff, but they can't do anything with it. Like they
Hey,
can.
I just jumped up because I wanted to say the mod from the Robotos community, because I messaged them. They have you open up collaboration tickets. He just got back to me. He was kind of asking more about the scope of what we're looking for. So I just told him I'm a community member and I'm just trying to bridge the gap. So when they do get back and give me more information, should I put you in contact with them or Moon?
Yeah, Moon.
Yeah, because I like he was asking what do we want from a collab. I'm like, look, I can't really say anything. I just think that we both have two cool communities, and these guys are gigabrains, so maybe you should talk with them. So I figure any information we get here will be perfect for just kind of knowing how to disseminate this information, and also going about trying to work out more of these like kind of connections with other NFT communities.
Yeah, I think it's still pretty early days here. We don't even have the NFT displays or the observer mode or anything live yet. But it's a good time to start thinking about how we want to integrate other communities, if we want to, into the Gotchiverse. Because we're not alone, obviously, in the space. There's a lot of stuff happening, and it can be a pretty powerful way to grow our player base by working with other communities and getting them excited about our world.
Yeah, I agree. And I like your guys' openness to how we could approach it as a DAO. The way I see it, there's two components here. There's the actual avatar aspect, and then there's the participation and permissions aspect. So I think the first part would be as a DAO to decide, are there going to be avatars from other projects in our Gotchiverse, like walking around? Or is it going to be an avatar represented by something a theme that fits within the Gotchiverse, whether it's a different type of character, baby Gotchi. There's been multiple kind of ideas to represent other communities, or are they going to be allowed to use their own avatars? I think that's the first thing we got to figure out. The next thing is, what sort of permissions would these communities have? Like, how are they going to be participating in the Gotchiverse? Is it going to be continuous participation, or is it going to be event-based participation? And during those events, what are we going to be allowing them to do? So I think those are like the first few things, maybe in my mind, that we should try and figure out, and then branch out from there and work on the details of it. Let's see what people have to say. I mean, we could have a worldwide Web3 style experience, I don't know if that's the vision for the Gotchiverse, to have like a Kong running around with a punk and a Bored Ape and then a Gotchi. I just don't know if that was the vision, but let's see what the community has to say. Do you guys think these communities should be represented through one of our characters, whether we design a character for them as an observer or as a participant, or maybe there's some alternative character idea that we have?
Yeah, I think aesthetically, I look at web and I'm like, it looks like just kind of a mess. I mean, what they've done is super cool, but aesthetically, I look at it, and it's just like so much stuff walking around, and it looks totally bizarre, which is kind of the appeal for some people. But aesthetically, we should be more. We want to have kind of a tighter aesthetic and keep everything more our Gotchi style.
We also have to think about the lore too. So if we are going to be doing a worldwide Web3, how does that fit in with the Gotchiverse lore? Being Gotchi,
Yeah.
Aavegotchis being the souls of the liquidated, from the realm, from the the ether realm, coming now to the Gotchiverse as Aavegotchi. So how are these other NFT avatars going to get here? Why are they here? Why are they in the Gotchiverse? I think
Exactly.
that needs to be addressed as well. That's not easy to
Yep.
address.
No, for sure. I've been thinking about that quite a bit.
But I like the
Yeah.
idea of having some sort of a character representing other NFT communities. And you said something very interesting yesterday, Coder Dan. You said not all gotchis have Spirit Force. I'm curious to know more about what people think about that.
There are gotchis that are native to the gotchiverse, and then there are Aavegotchis that are kind of injected with Spirit Force by the humans. So yeah, it's kind of strange because the other NFT communities are in the ether realm. They're not in the nether realm where the gotchiverse is. So how are they getting there? I mean, that's a great question. There's got to be some way for them to get into the gotchiverse, into the nether realm, which is kind of a one-way trip. You don't generally go from the ether realm to the nether realm. You can't really come back. So there's got to be a mechanic for them to get back.
Yeah, exactly. If that's
It
the case.
does. It kind of makes sense for there to be kind of like it's a gotchiverse, almost like a way to solicit other like members to join the gotchiverse in advance of this big war that we're going to happen. It's like calling all NFTs, come join the gotchiverse in preparation and help us build this world out in preparation for the liquidator invasion.
Where the gotchis themselves have crafted these hybrid souls that are ready to be taken by other NFT communities to defend the gotchiverse. Maybe we have to burn Alchemica to create the characters, and it's like, oh shit, we need 10,000 more of these, so we need to make 10,000 of these souls that can be taken by other NFT communities and then help us fight this great battle. And so for a while, you would have maybe 10,000 extra Aavegotchis in the Gotchiverse fighting off the liquidators, and then the souls would kind of, dissolve or disintegrate after the battle, and that would be it. That would be those NFT communities would lose access now. And maybe at that point they'd be so interested in the game they'd say, "Screw it, I want an Aavegotchi now because I can't use my Gotchi soul anymore to fight because it's dissolved or whatever." And
Well, I don't really think they would be able to fight or do anything. They're really just to observe and kind of be present. If we let them start fighting and doing stuff, then it's mixing pretty closely in with Aavegotchi.
can we maybe just use them as a meat shield in the battle? Like they can all line up and in groups of 10 and have like 20 rows of them between us and the liquidators. They could be the meat shields. They can use fists. But yeah, I like the spectator role as well. Allow them to be a part of that experience without actually giving away our rewards.
Yeah, the big draw for them is I kind of think, well, what do these other NFT communities want to do? They're going to want to. So when we eventually get, like, for example, if you talk about gotchi art, like if you had someone like Bin Laden, like you want to show off your NFT art that you've created in the Gotchiverse, you might have some friends that aren't necessarily in Aavegotchi that might want to be able to view it. It's like how can they view it? And then that's one layer. And then the other layer is if there's like a community that has their own NFT project and they're like, oh, we'd love to show off our NFTs in the Gotchiverse. Why they want to do that? I guess they would want to bring over some Aavegotchis to their community, which is probably kind of unlikely. but we also want to bring their guys over to our community. So maybe NFT, other NFT PFPs is a harder sell, but probably art is a good kind of middle point, right? Because they're not interested in necessarily in playing the game, but a portion of them, they start looking at the art and they're like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Like I might want to get a gotchi. But I don't think we're going to be able to convert a lot of like for example, like the Cool Cats guys to come over and get it an Aavegotchi. I mean, maybe we could, but it seems like the PFP guys are everyone's in their own lanes. They're all moisturizing in their own lane, all happy.
I had a question. How would you feel about like if we opened up the Gotchiverse during the Great Battle, say, like when liquidators engage, and then other PFP or other projects can come in only during that time to help us fight, and the only thing they can get is potentially the yield from killing the liquidator, because the liquidator would have whatever Alchemica it has. Potentially, if that's a mechanic, maybe they can kill. That's the only thing they can do. They can help us fight, and they can get little yield from the liquidators. So they're just essentially like a step above a liquidator, but we kind of give them that like status of, hey, we recognize your community. We want you in here to help us fight. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, that was the
kind of breaks
idea I
the lore.
had behind. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's a bit at odds with the story and the lore. I don't know if I'd want to deviate that much from things. I prefer them just to kind of be observers in the game.
Yeah, I mean that was the idea I had for the souls, Gotchi souls, but you do make a good point with that. With art, you had a recent alpha that you dropped on us yesterday. You had some alpha you dropped on us yesterday. Do you think that, without actually giving it away, if you don't want to, is that going to be a significant, how do I say this? Is there going to be significantly more artistic value we see come about from this new release?
Yeah, but that's not all. So the answer is there. Yes, there. I mean, there are. It's going to definitely open up creativity, but that's not the only art.
Oh, yeah. It seems like you guys have a bunch of artistic things coming down the pipeline. So I'm really curious to know more of that side before we really make any concrete decision on other NFT communities, because the art aspect alone might be a huge selling point.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Any other things you guys would like to go over? Otherwise, I'll probably sign off for the night here.
Just to pick up,
he really likes the vampire attack on CryptoKitties. I do think that would actually be pretty fun. Basically, we find these like communities that are basically disintegrated and just kind of give them value back for their dead NFTs. We kind of give them something in exchange for their dead NFTs, and it's something that they would use in the game. So we might be able to like activate them with that. I think that is a cool idea, and no one's done it yet.
That's interesting. So I mean, you would go over to the CryptoKitties community and say we have like some sort of an offer for you to come join the Gotchiverse.
Yeah, pretty much. Like CryptoKitties, I remember a while ago I was thinking of there was some llama. Was it? No, it was like what was it? Weird NFT project. But basically, they just got rug pulled, and they have all these useless NFTs sitting around. And there's like a lot of like good people in those communities, and they just got useless NFTs. Like, what if Aavegotchi was just like, hey guys, I mean, it could be for liquidators like later on, but liquidators, they're kind of like one-time use. But that could be one way that we do it. We say you now have a liquidator token. We've airdropped it to you, or you can go claim it. And we probably get a good chunk of new people just coming to check things out.
That's really cool. See, in my mind, I was kind of thinking of like the Gotchi pet adoption program. So we'd start adopting crypto kitties for the pet slot.
This would basically be give us your liquidate your NFTs. Like they're basically useless to you now. It's kind of a vampire. I don't know if it's a vampire attack, but it's like a sacrificial pit basically for all the worthless NFTs out there. You got to burn it, and then we give you like a liquidator token in exchange, or some other kind of semi-valuable thing.
Yeah, I like it. Billy Bishop coming in with a question on cartridges. Do you think cartridges could be something we give out as well once we
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, as a potential, like you say, a little token of come check us out. We're over here on Polygon.
We'll do it to the Bored Apes. Hey guys, I don't think there probably won't be takers for that one, but there definitely would be takers. Like someone mentioned, DeFi Kingdoms and like Crypto Kitties, maybe. Basically, all these like zombie NFT projects can be resurrected in the Gotchiverse.
Yeah, it's a good idea. There's more than a few.
Axes. There's too many axes.
Yeah, I mean, do you want 20 more? Do you want 20 million more players in the Gotchiverse? If you do, then Axie might be it.
Any project that has active breeding, probably not a good idea to do that with. This is more for the 10K rug pull NFT ones.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, there's just two other little things to touch on. The VP for AM Ghost, WAP Ghost, and Glitter staking. I guess that will be implemented soon if it hasn't already, right?
Yeah, we'll be working on a snapshot. Is so overloaded right now. We're gonna have to hopefully optimize some of our queries or something, so we don't keep hitting their RPC, like their endpoints having some issues. So we'll hopefully be able to look at that next week. Although the same team that is working on that also does the V2. So there's kind of a lot happening right now. But yeah, we'll definitely be working on that. The core prop has definitely passed.
Excellent. And then the second thing, stop new BRS wearable emissions until further notice. That one has met quorum with 18 million ghost for the 9 million ghost requirement. And there are still 3 days left on that proposal. So if you want that XP, go and get your vote in for that. But we already know it's gonna be a go for that one. So we can we'll be stopping the new BRS wearable missions till we figure out our path forward with that. So that's good.
Penske says we could turn axes into decorations. That actually is kind of a funny thing. There are some NFT projects out there like Just Bricks, or like they probably wouldn't sacrifice it because those things are worth a lot. But it could be, maybe there's some like rug pull NFT projects that are kind of like decorations.
It's like having that. It's like having the stuffed bass on your wall. You can have the stuffed Axie on the wall in your lodge.
Yeah, but that's pretty much. I mean, the NFT display will do the same thing, and you don't have to burn your NFT. So, well, yeah, everyone can think about that, and don't tell any other communities about this idea because it's such a good idea. We just need to figure out the exact way we want to implement it. I think the moment we do, I think it'll be a big moment for Aavegotchi.
Yeah, it's a nod to all the ones that got left behind, but we don't want to leave them behind. Axies could be like alc pinatas. Put the spillover inside them. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of interesting ideas here today. Let's keep the conversation going. If you have some interesting ideas on eyes, that's something we definitely want to dig into for next week. Anything else that you want to talk about, you can either DM me or Hardcore to put on the Miro board, and we'll definitely try to address that for next week. we'll probably try and get Jared here if he can make it and hear more about what he's building with sharecropping or land sharing. And that's all. I mean, that's all I got for today. Do you have anything else for today, Dan?
I'm good, friends.
Right on. Thank you, 89 people coming to hang out with us on Saturday morning for the DAO meeting. This is why we're the most active DAO in the world, right? Nansen stats just put that out.
Yep.
We're I think by all metrics, we're like the actual most quality active DAO in the world. I don't know the exact statistics on that. If you have the chart, you can post it up in here in the chat. Actually, I do have the I believe it's right here, actually. I don't know if you've been having this problem with Discord lately, but it doesn't even let me. If I'm trying to, oh, here we go. Yeah, this is the dashboard for Nansen, and you can see Aavegotchi by voters, voting not by voting power, but voters on active proposals. We're almost like double Lido.
Yeah.
Which
And this
is crazy.
as far as I know, this is not like the Gotchi Vault. They vote as a block, so we don't even have all the guys that are voting like through Gotchi Vault because they don't need to vote. So we're actually missing quite a big chunk of voters as well.
That's crazy. That's an inaccurate metric, and we're still leading.
Yeah,
by double almost.
we're like handicapped. We're voting with one hand.
We don't even need the other hand yet. That's fine.
So, all right, friends, I'm gonna sign off here. Thanks for another great DAO meeting, and have a great Sunday.
You as well, sir, and the rest of you as well. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. We'll catch up next week.
See ya. GN.
GN. Later.